Hey, first of all, I'd like to say that I really liked your video. I was super curious what an Android user would think of Windows Phone, and I think that most of what you said gave it pretty good praise, but there obviously were some complaints you had with it, so I thought I'd make this video in response to show you solutions to those problems, or why those problems aren't actually problems, but maybe even features. So, to start, you talked a lot about how touchy the screen was and how difficult it was for you to just slide sometimes. It would open tile instead of just moving the screen around. That's a feature of Nokia phones. And by the way, I'm doing this review on a Nokia Lumia 820. I've been using this phone for I think a year and a half now, and I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's a feature for gloves, so you can use gloves, wear gloves while using the phone. So that is in the settings. If you go down to the bottom, you'll see touch, and here you see touch sensitivity, normal or high. So by default it's on high, and all you have to do is go in there and put it on normal, and I can show you here how it actually works with gloves. I don't have gloves with me, but I can mimic gloves here by putting on a sock on my hand. And with most phones, here's the sock. With most phones, you wouldn't be able to work with the phone, but here I am, swiping and so on and so forth, going back to where I was, and you can see that if I turn this off, now it suddenly doesn't work anymore. So that's what that is. When it's on high sensitivity, it does use more battery, and since I don't wear gloves most of the time, I keep it turned off. I have noticed it doesn't really work with ski gloves, but for general winter glove usage, it works pretty well. Another thing that you talked about was not having a notification center. So there are a few solutions to that. One, you said that you got a text and you didn't know it. So let's go ahead and just give myself a text here. So there, I got it. And if I lock the screen and unlock it, there you can see it says I have one text. So that's one way you're able to see notifications. Another thing is that it's a good idea to have things that are important to you that you want to see notifications on at the top of your home screen here, so that you can just turn on your phone and see those up there instead of having to have them all buried down below where you have to swipe in to see them. Also of note is that the next Windows Phone update 8.1 will add a notification center, so that'll completely eliminate the issue that you're having with that. As to the Google or the YouTube issue, from what I've heard, Google wouldn't make a YouTube app, so Microsoft made their own, and then Google purposely blocked that app from having access to their servers. Which, yeah, was really annoying, but there are plenty of alternatives out there. I personally have found that I really enjoy MetroTube for getting YouTube. It's sleek, it's fairly fast, and it just works well. You can have it download videos to your phone and just watch them without even any data access. Another thing you talked about was that you can't see a grid of the apps in the list over here. And yes, it is a list, not a grid. If you want to see them in a grid, you should include them on your home screen. See, I have a grid here. Another solution is that you can tap on the letter and see a grid of the first letter of the app. So if I want to go to MetroTube, I just click M, and there I'm in the M's, and I can click right on MetroTube. Another solution, let's go back to the top, is to use this little search button here. Then click on that, then type in there we go, MetroTube. So I can click it like that. So that's a nice, fast, easy way to get that. As to Dropbox, I do not use Dropbox myself because I heavily use OneDrive, Microsoft's competition to Dropbox. And yes, there is no official Dropbox app, but just going to the store and searching for Dropbox will show up several alternatives, and some are very highly rated, like this Cloud 6 for Dropbox has a super high rating, as you can see there, and it looks a lot nicer than the example that you were using. These are just screenshots of the app. So that's a definite alternative to the Dropbox, the official Dropbox app. As to quickly changing Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and things like that, you were going into settings in order to find them. So there's my Wi-Fi, and click it off that way. There are alternatives to that. You can see I have here shortcuts to airplane mode, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. I did that all using an app called Shortcut Tiles, which you can find on the store easily, and it just lets you create tiles for various things you might want. I wish there was one for turning on tethering. There isn't one for that, but as you can see here, now I'm able to very easily just click on the airplane and toggle it on or toggle it off. I can go over to Wi-Fi and toggle it on or toggle it off. So that's pretty simple. Another thing that you said was with the keyboard, you didn't like that I didn't have swipe. And yes, it doesn't. But you'll be happy to know that the next update for Windows Phone actually will add swipe capability. Let's see. Another thing that you got annoyed about was that apps should be able to run in the background, or there are some apps that should be able to run in the background. In those instances, what I have seen is that the apps will have an option somewhere to make that possible. So, for an example here, I'm going to use my flashlight app here, Flashlight X Pro. So you can see the flashlight's turned on, and when I lock the phone, it stays on. How do I do that? So in this case, the settings button is down here for this app, and you can see run flash under lock, and it's turned on. If I turn it off, now when I lock the phone, the flashlight turns off. So that's what you're going to want to look for apps that you think should be able to run with the screen locked. Oh, here's a notification. Because I have these up at the top, you can see the notifications. In the lock screen, you can see it says I have an email. Lastly, yes, it is annoying that it doesn't let you download large files or apps over the data plan. My guess is that it is to make it foolproof for people who might have a very small data limit and don't realize it. And so I just connect to Wi-Fi when I have to. With apps, it'll actually tell you beforehand. So for example, here I'm going to look at the Halo game for Windows Phone. You can see here it says download over Wi-Fi. So it's warning you that it will have to be downloaded over Wi-Fi. That's a 716 megabyte file. If you go with a light version, it's smaller, 114 megabytes, but it still has to be downloaded over Wi-Fi. But if you go to a fairly normal sized app, 3 megabytes is pretty normal for an app, you can see it doesn't have that message, and that can indeed be downloaded over your data connection. So that's all my responses. Thanks for listening, and I personally really like the Windows Phone. This is the second one I've had. I'm looking into my third, and I'd highly recommend it for anybody out there. Thanks much. If you have any questions, just comment below.